Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, one and only AR Legends, and yeah guys, today I am back with another series, or rather, you can say the very first part of another series, which is gonna be what if Naruto had gained the powers from another universe. So yeah guys, it is gonna be pretty OP of a series as I really wanted to do this for a really long time, and today I finally have time to make the very first part of it. So please guys, if you guys are new to the channel and have not subscribed yet, please guys do so. It would be really helpful to me. And yeah guys, I have also put the link of my Instagram within the description below, as well as my friend had made a new channel, so I have decided to put the link of it within the description below as well, so please watch that as well. So without any further ado, let's start the video. I'm gonna start my video far away from the elemental nations, as it was a planet, and you can say, or rather in another universe far away from the elemental nation. It was a planet mostly advanced within technology. The technology of this, you can say, universe were far greater than any other, especially these people who were, you can say, specialized in technology advancement, as they were came across some few particles that were never seen in that universe or any other known universe to them. These particles were really special, but they contained enormous amount of power, and they simply did not understand it, so they decided to make a process with it, wanted to know what kind of particles these actually were, being very careful with it, but they made a, you can say, small mistake with it, as the particles started to go, you can say, unstable. The energy that was being released from those particles were enormous, more than enough to destroy their planet, if not the universe itself. So they decided to try their best to stabilize a little. They were able to do so a little bit, but it was still too much. So the leader of the whole, you can say, planet decided to get rid of them altogether. So he activated an emergency process which decided to make a wormhole to another planet or far away from, you can say, to another universe, decided to get rid of those particles altogether, and they threw all that, you can say, particles into it, and the wormhole closes, not knowing where it will actually open or what will happen with those particles, but at least the planet was safe along with their universe. While on the other hand, in the elemental nations, Naruto was wandering across the, you can say, forest of Wave Village. He was pretty sad at the moment. After all, he made a friend with, you can say, a person known as Haku, but he died in the battle. He was pretty sad about it. At least Zabuza was able to understand that how Haku loved him like a father, and he also accepted that. So Naruto was happy about that, but still, he was feeling pretty down. After all, one of his friend is dead, a new friend of his as his side. But then suddenly he looked upward to see something strange was happening. Black clouds were coming together, and suddenly, you can say, thunder started to came across the whole, you can say, wave village or wave country, as most of the people decided to take shelter, not knowing what it actually was, thinking that it was just storm coming, as Kakashi was also, you can say, worried a little bit, but seeing that he could not sense any chakra coming from the weather, which means that it was just a natural, you can say, storm. Hopefully, Naruto will be able to make back just in time, as Naruto looked upward into the sky before he could say anything. Different kind of lightning started to shine within the sky. These lightning were that of purple, blue, yellow, and different other kind of you can say, of all that lightning decided to make Naruto, you can say, the next target. Before Naruto could say anything, all that lightning slammed into Naruto's body as Naruto let out a blood-curdling scream of pure pain and agony, not knowing what it actually was. While inside of the seal, Kurama's eyes suddenly snapped open. He could feel a different kind of energy which he has never sensed in his whole life was invading the body of his host, as he growled a little and decided to push a bit of his chakra, trying to expel that energy. But to his utter shock, that energy started to feed off his chakra. So he decided to cut off the supply of his chakra as quick as possible, because it was eating it hungrily. And not knowing what it actually was, he was also pretty shocked and a little bit scared at the same time. He has never encountered anything like this. While on the outside, Naruto's eyes started to change color. It was like the color of rainbow, as whole of his eyes were shining, and his whole body was, you can say, releasing lightnings of different kind, as altogether he was, and you can say, not knowing where he actually was or what was actually going on with his body, as he suddenly, you can say, got knocked out after that, not knowing what was going on. As after some time, Naruto groaned a little as he opened his eyes to see that how he was in the house of Tasuna, as he blinked for some time, and you can say decided to stood up a little as he felt something strange was his body, and he looked towards his hand. He could feel that he was Naruto, but he was different at the same time, as he simply shook his head as suddenly, the door opened and a person walked in, as it was none other than Kakashi. As Kakashi looked towards Naruto and gave him a smile, as Naruto looked towards Kakashi and blinked a little, as he decided to look Kakashi up and down, as he could feel several things which he never noticed about Kakashi. How he was always, you can say, looking lazy, but at the same time, his posture, you can say, indicate that how he was ready for any and everything that I as was containing a lot of his chakra. Most of his body chakra was going towards it. The nerves were damaged, and most of the Kakashi's feature and how his hand was always near his kunai pouch and all the other things, and even with that reading of the book, his eye moving from one place to another at the same time. As Naruto shook his head, what was going on with him? As he blinked a little and looked towards Kakashi, Kakashi sensei. As Kakashi gave him an eye smile, well Naruto, it seems that you have finally woken up, huh? As Naruto nodded as he looked towards his clothes, which were different, as he said, what happened to my clothes, huh? As Kakashi looked towards Naruto for some time. Well, Naruto, it seemed that you don't remember. You got hit by lightning last night, but it seemed that you were able to recover pretty well thanks to your gifts. As Naruto quickly, you can say, a single word came to his mind, QB, as so the QB healed him as Kakashi thought. As he looked towards Naruto, he was feeling a bit different, and especially his hair, which started to change color to some point into red. As Kakashi shook his head, so Naruto, how are you feeling, huh? As Naruto simply nodded, well, I'm feeling pretty well, Kakashi sensei. It seemed that I do not have bodily injuries, just my jacket must have gotten ruined. As Kakashi nodded at that, well Naruto, if you're ready, then why don't you come down and have some food? After all, we do have to leave for Konoha today. You do know that, right? As Naruto simply nodded at that, as Kakashi decided to leave Naruto for some time. As Naruto stood up, he could feel that he was a bit taller. As for some reason, he was analyzing things far, far more detailed than he was thinking previously. And on top of that, he could feel his body. It was different. Something was different with him. And he simply do not know what it actually is about. As he sighed, as he looked down, so the food must be down. As not to blink a little, suddenly he could feel his vision as he took a step back. As he could feel, you can say, he could see through the roof and into the, you can say, lower part of the house, how all the team was gathered together and they were eating. As not to blink twice, and once again he could see through things. As he simply shook his head, what was going on here? And once again his vision came to normal. As he blinked once again, as he simply shook his head, decided to ignore it for some time and decided to have some food for the moment. And as Naruto gulped a little and decided to change into his spare clothes and decided to go down to have some food. As he finally arrived to the place, as he looked towards Tazuna, who was looking happily towards his family, and all of them noticed Naruto. As you can say, Tsunami decided to speak up. Well, Naruto-kun, it seems that you have recovered quite nicely, I must say that your recovery rate is pretty well. As Naruto simply gave her a smile and nodded at that and decided to have some food. As Kakashi was looking keenly towards Naruto, something was odd about his usually loudmouth student, and he was acting quite differently. As you can say, Naruto looked towards, you can say, his teammates as he noticed several things which he never noticed in his whole life. That how Sasuke was actually brooding and he was murmuring something, as Naruto could actually read lips now, as it was something Itachi. as he simply shook his head. It was none of his business. And then he noticed towards Sakura, who was stealing glances to na- to you can say Sasuke and having her cheeks getting red a little bit as Naruto sighed as he simply shook his head. He has to eat at the moment and he will think what actually happened to him at a later time, and he decided to eat and eat and eat as he noticed that how his hunger was a lot greater than it was before. All the people were watching it as well as Sakura was now getting annoyed. Naruto Baka was eating all the food of the whole family. Hey, Naruto Baka, what are you doing? As she decided to hit Naruto on the head. To her shock, or most of the people surprised there as Sakura quickly grabbed her hand as she felt as if she has hit you can say a iron wall, while on the other hand Naruto did not even notice her screeching or punching him. He was still eating like a you can say someone who has never seen food for years. As Kakashi noticed that he will have to have a talk with Naruto. It could be a side effect of, you can say, having released Kyuubi's chakra later that day. And that could be the side effect that Naruto was hungry and he was, you can say, changing a little bit. Maybe they should check the seal as well. He thought that and nodded at that as Sakura was really shocked. Her hand was already red and she was feeling a lot of pain in it already as she decided to screech once again, but Kakashi gave her a look. Sakura, that is enough. Naruto is hungry, let him eat it. And I don't think that Tazuna-san will mind as Tazuna started to laugh. Well, the kid is hungry. So he can have it all. After all, he is the hero of our village. As Kakashi gave a eye smile as Sasuke simply scoffed at that and decided to eat his food as quick as possible as well. And they decided to leave after some time. While on the other hand, Naruto was still thinking about many things about his body. He has to do something. He had to have a, you can say, well, at least something at the later time, but first he has to reach the hidden leaf village as quick as possible. As he looked towards the direction where his home village would actually be, as he started to think when he will be able to arrive there, but then suddenly his eyes glowed for a moment and then he could feel or rather see all the areas that were coming in their direction to the hidden leaf village as he blinked several times and took a step back as Kakashi noticed that. Naruto, are you alright? As Naruto shook his head, Kakashi sensei, I'm alright. As he simply shook his head once again. What was going on with him? Once again, he was able to see all across, you can say several kilometers to the point where the hidden leaf village actually was. Alright team, since we do not have a civilian traveling with us, why don't we move up? And they simply nodded at that as Naruto and all of them nodded as they jumped into the tree and they decided to move forward as suddenly both Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke felt a blur passing by them as Sasuke and Sakura were confused, so they stopped at that while on the other hand Kakashi also looked back to see one of his blonde students was not there as he simply started to look around as he saw that how something was moving past with incredible speed, far greater speed than he has ever seen. For a moment, he saw a yellow flash moving past them, as while on the other hand, Naruto was almost moving to his casual speed, but he noticed that how his team was nowhere to be around. As he looked back directly, he could feel he has already traveled to a kilometer within few steps, as he was literally shocked to see that. While on the other hand, Kakashi was now getting really nervous. Something must be wrong with the shield, and Kyuubi must be providing Naruto additional chakra. That must be the only reason for that, right? As Kakashi said, follow now, as both Sasuke and Sakura decided to follow, you can say, to the place as they arrived in front of Naruto. As Kakashi looked up and down towards Naruto, Naruto, are you alright, huh? As Naruto simply shook his head, well, Kakashi-sensei, I'm alright. As Kakashi was now really getting nervous, while on the other hand Sasuke had a pissed off look on his face. The Dobe, how did he move that fast? He did not even see him moving and he has already traveled to this distance. It was not possible. As he decided to speak up, but before he could say anything, as Kakashi said, well Naruto, it seems that you must be tired, right? and he decided to knock off Naruto as Naruto noticed Kakashi's hand coming to his neck almost at the slow motion. He could feel, you can say, amount of chakra behind that hand. Hell, he could even see the chakra points, the chakra pathway that was coming towards him, ready to knock him out as Kakashi chopped Naruto to the neck. And just for the sake of it, Naruto decided to close his eyes. He has to think about what was actually going on. And decided to fake his sleep as Kakashi caught him. As Sakura decided to speak up, Kakashi sensei, why did you do that? As Kakashi said, well, Sakura, I think that Naruto is pretty tired and is pushing too much chakra into his body. That must be the reason he was able to move that fast. So don't worry about it, Sakura. I, Naruto, just need a bit of rest. As Sakura nodded, even though she was reluctant, while Sasuke was still pissed off at the speed of the Dobe. That kind of speed should be his as an Uchiha. As Kakashi simply shook his head, alright, let's go. And after some time, they finally arrived to the Hidden Leaf village and decided to give the report. And Third Hokage looked towards Kakashi and dismissed the other team 7 members as he said, well, Kakashi, so what do you want to tell me? And he looked towards the unconscious form of Naruto, which was still only, you can say, well, Kakashi, mind explaining that as he pointed toward the unconscious form of Naruto sitting on his chair as Kakashi sighed and decided to give his report of how Naruto used the Kyuubi chakra. Hokage-sama, I think that Kyuubi is releasing a bit of his chakra into Naruto's system. The seal might be getting weak as Third Hokage suddenly had an alarm expression on his face as Kakashi explained the unnatural speed, the amount of hunger, as well as the changing of hair a little bit, all started after he used the power of the Kyuubi in that battle. As Third Hokage was also pretty surprised as Kakashi didn't even mention about the weather. After all, it was for only few instances and it was near the sea, so that kind of weather is actually quite normal for them. While on the other hand, you can say Third Hokage decided to look towards the seal as he noticed the seal as he said, well, Kakashi, this seal was specifically designed by Minato so that Naruto could use Kyuubi's chakra and Kyuubi chakra filtered into Naruto's own reserve so he can actually use it as his own. I think that since Naruto has used Kyuubi's chakra for the very first time, the amount of chakra leaked into his own natural reserves has increased. Thus, you can say the amount of hunger as well as you can say a bit of height increase and changing of hair. Well, I do not know much about it, but I think that it has something to do with Kushina. You already know that Naruto's mother had red hair, so it could be the side effect of using Kyuubi's chakra. After all, red hair is a part of his, you can say, genetic structure. As Kakashi thought it for some time, well, it does make actually sense, but for the sake of it, I will call for Jiraiya. He will be here in few months, so he should be able to check Naruto's seal if it is necessary. As Kakashi nodded at that, so Kakashi, why don't you leave him at the, you can say, at his home and we shall discuss other things later and have some rest. After all, you are back from an A rank mission. As Kakashi nodded at that and decided to leave Naruto at his house. As when Kakashi left, Naruto's eyes suddenly snapped open. He was awoken all of this time and he heard everything, the report and how the report about Kyuubi's chakra and the seal and things like that. And especially talking about his mother who had red hair. According to the third Hokage, as he narrowed his eyes, he remembered all of those times when he asked the third Hokage if he knew anything about his parents, but Third had the same answer that how he knew nothing about it. And now that pissed Naruto off, but at the moment he has, you can say, some other things to worry about as he stood up and looked towards his body. As he closes his eyes, for some reason he had a lot of knowledge than before. His observation skills were far greater and he could feel his mind was far, you can say, thinking a lot quicker than before. As he closes his eyes and concentrate on the seal, and just like that, he arrived in his mindscape, just like he thought, and he started to walk towards the closed gates. As he arrived in the, you can say, the sewer, he's in his mindscape as he looked behind the gates as Kyuubi was looking towards him. So my prisoner had decided to pay me a visit, huh, brat? As Kyuubi said as Naruto looked towards Kyuubi for some time as he said, that is pretty interesting. I thought that you would be a mindless beast. After all, according to people of Konoha or people in general, they think that you guys do not have the ability to think for themselves and just are mindless beasts of hatred as Kyuubi lashed toward the gate. Of course I can think, you stupid human. As Naruto looked towards Kyuubi, so you can actually talk and think. Well, that is pretty interesting, to be honest, but I'm not here for that. I want to ask you some question. That lightning, that was unnatural. That lightning had different type of color and all of them attacked me for no reason whatsoever. Mind telling me about it or what Kakashi sensei and Tadokage are talking about? This thing, my thinking ability improving so much, my vision, which I can see things pass through object as well as can see far, far away by standing at a single position, and on top of that I can feel my strength which is a lot stronger than before. Is it a side effect of your chakra or is it because of that strange lightning? As Kyuubi was silent for some time had this cough as he said, well human, I must say that it is pretty intriguing. Yes, you're right about it. It is the side effect of being hit by that strange energy which invaded your body last night. I tried to expel it, but it was able to absorb my chakra. And not only that, it has changed your body, evolved it for some reason. And I have never ever seen anything like that power. It is different, far, far different from chakra or anything close to chakra to begin with. As Naruto was silent for some time as he looked around the place as he said, well, that was informative, but I don't like my mindscape. As he clapped his hand together once and all the place started to change according to his will. As Kyuubi was shocked when the cage disappeared as he looked towards the brat ready to lash out towards him, but then suddenly a collar appeared at his neck stopping him as he gritted his teeth. Of course the seal was not gone, but he looked around to see the place was a lot different. It was mostly around the forest, around Konoha, as well as the mountainside, and a nice, you can say, river going through the area. As he looked towards the brat for some time and simply scoffed and you can say decided to have a bit of walk. He was bit grateful, but he was still the QB no Yoko. He was not gonna thank the brat who was still holding him as hostage, but at least it was better than that damn sewer. As he thought in his mind, while on the other hand Naruto simply shook his head. He did not did it for QB, but still, having his mind as a sewer, he did not like that. So, he simply changed it, but he closes his eyes once again, awakening into, you can say, in his apartment. As he decided to move to the forest around Konoha, decided to have a bit of, you can say, test run at his new body and the powers he was feeling within it. As he moved like a blood, he could feel the world around him getting slower and slower as he noticed a bit of lightning started to surround his body, which surprised him for a little moment, and just like that, he was, you can say, at the far edge of Konoha within seconds. He was pretty shocked to see that, well, at least his speed is this great, but he has to control it, otherwise it would be more of a hindrance than anything. His mind was moving a mile per second and several other scenarios only according to his speed, and not only that, he could see far, far, far away and by just standing in one position and decided to test it out. After all, let's see how far he could actually see as he closes his eye and decided to channel his power. It was just like chakra, he could actually channel it a lot easier than chakra to begin with, as suddenly the lightning started to surround his body of different colors. As he started to see all across the area, he could see, you can say, the pathway from where they actually came from. He could see far into the very bridge, the great Naruto bridge. As he had a small smile on his face, he could see the house of Tazuna by just standing here. He could see, you can say, Anari playing there as well as Inari playing there and all of the other things that were going across the village. The village was a lot happier after the death of Gato, as he simply shook his head and decided to focus even above that. He could see into the sea and far away from that land as he had a small smile on his face. But then he noticed a small, you can say, island that was there. This surprises Naruto, as it was an island mostly destroyed. As he could see, you can say, whole buildings were destroyed, whole structure was utterly destroyed. But the thing which got his notice was several swirls that were present on the building, and now this got his attention. These were the same, you can say, swirls that were present at the back of Konoha jacket. And if he's not mistaken, not all shinobi villages has it, which means that whatever this place actually was actually a ally of Konoha, as he decided to have a some other look towards the area as he could notice a board, or rather the gate that was present here, and the name was the Uzushio, the homeland of the Uzumakis. As his eyes widen at that, and he simply closes his eyes, and just like that, he was back at, you can say, his current location. As he gasped a little, his eyes were bleeding a little bit. It seems that he has pushed his eyes to its very limit. And not only that, the wave country was at least, you can say, 80 kilometers from Konoha, and on top of that, he has seen, you can say, almost covered more of his area towards the sea, and on top of that, towards that island, which apparently was the homeland of the Uzumakis. He simply shook his head. There are several things which he do not know about it, and he has to find out about it if he wants to know anything about himself, about his heritage, about his powers, and all that. As Naruto simply shook his head and once again decided to channel his power into his body. As he closes his eyes, he wants to test his strength and what he was truly capable of now. All the things, baby steps. Let's see how fast he could actually run. As he decided to run a little bit like a jog. And just like that, he could see the world around him getting slower and slower. With each passing step, he was covering miles. If he wants to, he was at least moving at Mach 5 with ease, as he has already covered the whole forest. Just like that, he could see the water droplets falling from a, you can say, just moisture tree, and on top of that, the birds flying there, you can say, wings chirping a little, and all that. He could see all of it, and with incredible speed, he was able to cover the whole forest just like that within the blink of an eye. And he was pretty amazed by his speed. Let's see about my strength, as he decided to channel a bit of his, you can say, power into his body as he slammed his face into a boulder, as he was hoping for some cracks, but to his utter shock, the boulder shattered into tiny small pieces, and like it was nothing. As he was at utter shock at his own power, he simply could not believe it, as decided to test run it even further. As he ran once again, and he could see a gigantic boulder that was present deep in the forest. As he slammed his fist into it, it was at least 10 times bigger than the previous one, and he passes through it just like that, making a hole into it. And when he looked back towards the boulder, it shattered into tiny pieces once again, as Naruto was at awe of its own power. As he looked towards his body, which was emitting once again lightning from it, and decided to have a bit of his more trial run, his childish nature taking over for a little bit. So he jumped, and that was actually, you can say, a small mistake, but it was really a jump to at least, you can say, 2 to 3 kilometers above, as he could already see clouds above him. As he was at utter shock, he thought that with this power he would be able to jump at least higher to, you can say, the Hokage monument. Not this much, as now he was falling, and he almost screamed for a little bit, but once again his power, you can say, started to move on its own, and just like that he stopped within the mid-air. As he looked down towards the ground to see that how he was floating, as he looked all around him to see clouds and some of the birds around him as well, as he was at utter shock. As once again he decided to redirect his body, he could move within the mid-air, which means that he could fly. As once again he decided to channel his power into his body, and he flew like a rocket all across, you can say, the sky. He was moving like a bird. No, cross that like a rocket. And he was amazed of its own power, while in Konoha, you can say Kakashi was now a bit worried. He had just left Naruto at his apartment and decided to check on him after some time, but he was nowhere to be found. So he went to his training ground 7 to see Sasuke was training there, but Naruto was nowhere to be found. Well, at least Sakura was there, hiding in the bushes and watching Sasuke. As Kakashi sighed, he do not have time for this. He has to find Naruto and ask him few questions if he was feeling alright, while on the other hand, Naruto could look down towards Konoha and suddenly you can actually see all of them. And not only that, he could see the chakra networks just like a Hyuga, which was really impressive if you must say. He could see, you can say, in the Team 7 training ground, Sasuke was punching a pole, Sakura was hiding in the bushes, and Kakashi, he was in a tree. As he looked towards Kakashi, and he said, I wonder what they're doing there. But then suddenly he could hear some things and he could hear the thoughts of, you can say, Sasuke, Itachi, Itachi, Itachi. He was punching over and over again as Naruto raised an eyebrow and he could already tell what it actually was. Thanks to his high IQ, at this point he was not even surprised anymore. So I can hear thoughts as well. Well, that is impressive. And he looked down towards Sakura. Sakura was thinking, Sasuke-kun is so hot. Sasuke-kun, or something like that. As Naruto simply shook his head. Why did he even like her in the first place? And then he looked towards Kakashi. Kakashi was thinking, well, it seems that Sasuke is taking his training seriously. The kid has some serious talent. I think that Sakura had to work hard as well, otherwise she will be left behind to Sasuke. As for Naruto, he sighed. Well, it seemed that I can't able to find him. Well, I hope that he would be alright at least. But as for the training of Naruto, as he sighed in his mind, the kid has so many holes to what to do about him. He do not have chakra control. Not only that, his child taijutsu was really bad. And he got lucky at the wave vision. Otherwise, if he were not to use the power of the Kyuubi, he would have died. As Naruto was a bit hurt after hearing that, but to a logical point of view, he could see that how Kakashi was right about most of the things there, but he simply shook his head. And once again, he ignored the Team 7 and decided to have a bit of fun with his new powers. And he decided to flew towards that, you can say, small island which he found. Thanks to it, you can say, new vision. And just like that, within, you can say, minutes, he has already arrived at the land of the Uzushiu. He was about to land at that, but then suddenly his eyes saw, you can say, a dome-like structure that was surrounding the village, as not to stop at the very last second, but to, you can say, a bit of, thanks to his inexperience with his power, he was not able to stop just like that, as his hand touches the barrier, and suddenly the barrier decided to, you can say, glow a little bit. As Naruto was, you can say, ready for any kind of pain. Hopefully, his new body would be able to, you can say, tolerate whatever attack would be coming next. He already knew about barriers and things like that. Thankfully, Konoha barrier could only detect if invaders are coming to the, you can say, to the village to attack them. The people who are already living there, it does not concern them. They can enter and leave the village just like that, and it would not give any warnings whatsoever. That was the reason Naruto was able to leave the village just like that, without any reason whatsoever, or anyone asking too many questions. As while on the other hand, the barrier, to his surprise, started to make a small open window for him. As Naruto simply shrugged, well, he's not gonna look the gift horse in the mouth as he decided to land into the, you can say, ground. As he could see, several seals were once again glowing all around him, but he could already tell, since he was an Uzumaki and this was the previous hometown of the Uzumakis, nothing was gonna happen to him. So he simply shrugged and decided to have a small tour of the land, and he was really surprised to see this kind of destruction. And he did not even knew about the Uzumakis to the begin with, that they were a clan to begin with. So he decided to now, for information, where to go first. Well, of course, library. So let's find the library, shall we? As he decided to look around, thanks to his new vision, of being able to see through things and far far distance at the same time if he so desired. He was able to find the library just like that. Well, most of it was destroyed, but it was surrounded by hundreds, if not thousands, of the seals. And but hopefully they will not, you can say, touch him. So, and just like that, he was able to pass through those seals without much of a trouble. Though he did got some nasty surprises, like a bit of lightning, those seals, which you can say not even Uzumaki's can pass through, but at least he did not even fail it much. So, just like that, he was able to arrive to the Uzumaki library, and mostly it was history. It seemed that they were able to burn many scrolls of their own knowledge before it could get into the hands of their enemies. That was quick thinking, but at least it was the history of the Uzushu. As Naruto was really surprised, it seemed that there were many things he did not knew about his own clan, or his so-called Gigi did not told him before, which made him a bit angry about, you can say, Hiruzen Sarutobi. It seemed that he would need to have a bit of talk with the man. After all, he do trust the man, or rather want to trust him, but all of these lies of him not knowing his parent and not telling him about his clan now getting on his nerves. While on the other hand, Uzumaki's mostly have red hair, and now he remember when he, you can say, Hiruzen said that how his mother had red hair, which means that he was given the later name of his mother, which means that his father was not an Uzumaki and his mother was. Then, who was his father? If he has blonde hair, then his father must have blonde hair just like him. Now, it was, you can say, another mystery which he will put in, you can say, in its place in due time at least. So he simply shook his head. Well, most of the thing he has already read here and it was basic history. So he grabbed the book and jumped into the air, and just like that, like a bullet, he was launched into the sky, and within minutes he was able to arrive to the forest of Konoha, as he has already read all the book within, you can say, the place, and decided to burn it, not wanted to for anyone to get its hand on it. Even though it was just history, it was still his clan's history, so he did not wanted anyone to have it to begin with. As Naruto finally arrived to his home, he had a small diary in his hand. Well, let's see that whatever this power actually is gives me great speed and gives me increased strength to the level that I can punch through a boulder without a second thought in my mind. My durability is great. When I was hit by that lightning seal which released a lot of lightning towards me, it did not even hurt me, just making me a bit numb at my hand. Other than that, nothing. And on top of that, I can jump really, really high. I can fly. I can see through things just like a Byakugan. I can read thoughts. I can, you can say, see the chakra network. I can do many things. I'm awesome. As he write down, as he started to laugh at that. Well, that is interesting, if I must say. Well, world, soon you shall see the power of Naruto Uzumaki. And just like that, he opened his eyes to see that he was once again in his mindscape. As he said, "What do you want, stupid fox?" As he looked back toward the fox, he could see that his personality was coming back, but his IQ was still the same, and which was pretty a lot, if you must say. As he looked toward the fox, who was looking towards Naruto with an annoyed expression on his face, as he said, "Well, brat." As Kurama looked towards Naruto, as he said, "Brat, I was not the one who summoned you here, it was him." As now Naruto was confused as he looked back to see that a strange figure was standing there. As now Naruto was really confused, who are you and what do you want? And better question would be, what are you doing here in my mind? As the figure chuckled a little. Well, young one, if you must know, I'm the consciousness of the very power which you behold at the moment. As Naruto raised an eyebrow as the person came into the light, as the person had pure silver hair which were shining from one place to another in the form of rainbow, and his dress was really really different. As Naruto looked towards him, what? As the person simply shook his head. Let's just say that the powers you obtained were not meant to be just like that. It was mostly, you can say, different aspects of the universe which was once destroyed, and the remaining, you can say, those aspects travel into another one who decided to make some experiment with it, and they were unable to control it, so therefore released into your own universe. In a simple terms, there are many universes, let's just say that, and all these universes had different aspects, some common, some different, and one universe was there which had many, you can say, different aspects of power and reality, but that universe, when got destroyed, those aspects remaining power entered into another one, and they tried to, you can say, control it, but they were unable to do so, so they released it into your own world. And it seemed that all that aspects of a whole universe has merged with you, so therefore you have the consciousness of a, you can say, several aspects of universe. As Naruto, even though he was pretty sure that if he were to hear this kind of bullshit 2 days ago, he would have, you can say, not even follow. Now he was simply not believing it. As I said, so you're saying that you are the consciousness of the aspects of universe. Well, not this one at least. As the person simply nodded at that. I can already tell you do not believe me, but fortunately for me, I don't need you to believe me to begin with. I am here just a afterthought, if you must say. As Naruto said, so these kind of powers, they came from another universe, huh? Well, that is intriguing. Though I must say that these abilities are really, really useful. As the person simply Shakai, if you believe those lower level abilities are useful, then you must wait, child, because soon enough you will unlock the other aspects that are present inside of you soon enough. As Naruto raised a eyebrow at that, and what do you mean by the aspects? As the person simply shrugged, as I said, the aspect of life, that time, you can say, and many other, the aspect of strength, the aspect of time, aspect of, you can say, durability, and all other. As Naruto had, you can say, Kurama at this point was at utter shock. He could feel immense power coming from this being, whatever it actually was. And now he was saying that this kid would have the ability to manipulate time and space, and not only that, having the power of, you can say, time itself was dangerous. As Naruto raised an eyebrow, what? As the person said, in simple terms, kid, you at this point going forward are an immortal being because of the, you can say, the aspect of life and regenerative abilities. Your body after a certain point will stop aging, you will simply not die. And on top of that, you will have the ability to control time to a certain extent, and being able to travel through time, and if you so desire, through timelines as well. As Naruto was at awe at this point, your aspect of strength is really powerful. At this point, you are the most durable person here. I doubt that if the power of this whole planet were to combine together and punch you, you will hardly feel it. In simple terms, you can say Kurama thought if the Jubi were to hit Naruto, it would not hurt him whatsoever. He was at awe of this power at the moment, as Naruto was also pretty surprised to hear that. And not only that, there are several other abilities you shall unlock in the near future. So we shall see again each other again, child. And after that, the figure simply disappeared before Naruto could actually see or asking question, while on the other hand Kurama was stuck at this point. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, 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 no. Did he just said he was immortal? Which means that he was stuck here for eternity as he glared towards the kid, as he was more than happy to kill the brat before he became truly immortal. But once again, the seal stopped him as he cursed under his breath, while on the other hand, Naruto was just left hanging at this point. As I said, well, that was interesting. As if vanished from his mindscape. But I'm gonna end this part here just like that. Hope you guys enjoyed it. For the next part, I'm open for suggestions, guys. If you guys have new ideas about new kind of abilities, then do tell me and I will give it to Naruto, of course. So it would be fun. So please, you can say comment, and like and subscribe. So yeah, peace.